Hello everybody, welcome to this tutorial which is focusing on DaVinci Resolve for the iPad. Couple of things before we get started. I'm using an iPad 3rd generation, so some of the functionality is limited because DaVinci Resolve for the iPad is designed for the M1, M2 chips and mine isn't that. So there are some limitations as to what can happen. Also, this course is using the free version of DaVinci Resolve. So again, there are lots of things inside of the app that are limited or that you can't use because you have to purchase the in-app purchase. It's $84.99 UK pounds. I'm not 100% sure what it is in dollars or any other currency, but I'm sure you guys can find that out. I've decided to use the free version because I'm a filmmaker and I'm a film director, and I use DaVinci Resolve on the laptop and on the computer exclusively when I'm editing and color grading my work, and I wanted to see if the iPad is comparable. So DaVinci Resolve are billing this as a comparable system to use. I think it's definitely a great addition to the DaVinci Resolve Blackmagic ecosystem. It's definitely a great addition for that pipeline. So if you're already using it on the computer, that you can then jump onto the iPad, whether you're traveling, you're on a train, or you don't have access to your machine, you can then finish on here. The reason it works so well for me on the newer version of the iPad is because they're USB-C. So if you have the USB-C iPad, you can then plug a hard drive into that iPad and you can edit off that hard drive. That's another little I think it's a really great addition to the iPad because it gives us lots of flexibility when we're editing. So if, like me, you shoot lots of content in 4K or 8K or full HD, the iPad storage can be somewhat limited, and obviously it's really expensive to have cloud storage. So if you use this on the iPad with an external hard drive, gives you lots more functionality. Okay, in this course, what are you going to learn? So you're going to learn, firstly, very simply, how to download the app, find the root folder. We're going to navigate around the app, so we're going to see what's in there. We're going to see what it offers on the free version. You'll learn how to edit your own content. You'll learn how to edit multicam content, so 2 or more cameras. We'll also learn how to color grade it and then how to get that out and export that to various different sources. Okay, let's jump in. Let's get editing, and I'll see you at the end of the course. This is DaVinci Resolve 18 for the iPad. So first thing you're going to want to do is pop over to the App Store and search DaVinci Resolve for iPad. So I've already pre-done this, so I'm just going to load that up. And you'll see over on the right, it says DaVinci iPad, open that up. So I've already downloaded this, but let's have a look at some of the features. So DaVinci's billing itself as a full editing and color grade solution for the iPad. Now, looking at these images, it looks pretty impressive. It looks very much like it should on the desktop. So you can do lots and lots of things that you can do. And the idea is that you can work between 2 different workflows. So you can start on your desktop and move over to your iPad and vice versa. Let's have a look at some of the specs. So there's quite a long list, but apparently, according to this, it's exactly the same as working on the desktop version. So you've got cloud compatibility, you've got full color grade, you've got AI tools for creativity, tells you what compatible models are. Now, I have a 3rd generation iPad, so this is billing for the M1 Pro or newer. So I will have some limited functionality on my version. You may have the same. Let's pop down to the data collection part. So as you can see, it is a paid app, but there is a free version which I will be using. The paid app is £84.99. So I'm not sure what that is in dollars, but I'm sure the App Store will tell you. So if you click download now in the next session, we will open it up and we'll have a look around and see what features are in there, and then we'll start editing a project. In this tutorial, we're going to look at opening DaVinci Resolve for the first time and what you're presented with. As soon as you open it, you will see this panel. This is the cut page. Those that are familiar with DaVinci Resolve will already know this page, but I will go through it with you and we'll go through all the buttons and see what they do. Also, you have the color page. Again, we will do a separate tutorial on color grading and what's in the color page. In the cut page though, this is where you're going to do your main editing. So you have media, where we don't have anything at the minute, so we'll relook at this. You have sync. Again, I'm going to do a tutorial on syncing different types of media. In our transitions, we have lots of different transitions that we can use when we have two types of media, and we have lots of different title options, from lower thirds to scrolls to digital glitches, etc. As we're on the free version of the iPad, some of these may not work, but we'll figure that out as we go along. Also, we have an effects panel, and again, some may not work. They may be part of the paid version of DaVinci Resolve on the iPad. But again, we'll go through it, we'll have a look, we'll figure it out along the way. Over to the right, we have our export panel, so we can export masters, we can export ProRes HQ, we can send it straight to YouTube or Vimeo, or we can share it via Apple's standard AirDrop style sharing system. If we move across, we have our full screen mode. This is where we can preview all of our footage. Again, we don't have any footage in, so we can't preview anything right now, but this will come in really handy when you need more real estate. We also have our inspect, which is the top corner. Again, we don't have any footage in there, so there's nothing to inspect. So we'll look at that once we import some footage. If we go down to the little home button in the right corner, you'll see our project page pop up. This is where we can import projects, export projects, create new projects, and just see what we have in our iPad and what we have open, etc. So I'm just going to rename this DaVinci Resolve Tutorials, and you'll notice I've got two projects in here. So I've got this one, which we're working on right now, and another one that I've been working on, and I've been swapping between my iPad and my laptops just to really work on the integration. If I right click this though, you'll notice I get some more information, so I can open it and read only, I can close it, rename it, etc. I'm going to close this, so that's got rid of that project, just so we're not cluttered, so we know what we're working on. Okay, if I bring my information up, so Command I, you'll see I've got information on my project, so that tells me the timeline and how many timelines I've got, etc, etc. So this really looks like DaVinci Resolve on the Mac or on the PC. I've also got network, and I can cloud sync as well. So if you're using the cloud, you can use your iPad to be part of that editing pipeline. What we're going to do now, we're going to come out of this page and we're going to go back to our cut page. If we go down to the bottom, you'll see our timeline. This is where we will put our footage in and start our editing process. So again, I'll go into more detail as we actually have footage in the iPad. If we go down to the bottom right corner, we'll see our gear icon. And what we have here is our project settings page. This is where we can change our timeline resolution. We can change our aspect ratio. We can look at the image scaling. We can look at color management, so we can tell DaVinci Resolve how we want it to handle color. And I'll go into more detail in a later tutorial around that, because it can become complex really quickly. Because we have the free version of DaVinci Resolve, and I have an iPad 3rd generation, which is not the M1 Max chip, which is what they recommend for DaVinci Resolve, I can only go up to 1920 by 1080, which is HD. I may upgrade my iPad in the future. I don't know. Let's see how we get on working within DaVinci Resolve. Most of the projects I deliver are 1080p anyway, so that doesn't really worry me at this stage. On the left side, we've got some other settings, which we'll go into more detail as we progress through this course. So let's just cancel that, because I don't want to save any of those changes. We'll come out of that, and in the next session, we'll start looking at bringing in media, and we'll start looking at how we edit and color grade that media. In this session, we're just going to quickly look at the root folder. So if you open DaVinci Resolve and you click import media, so we'll just go to a folder. This will bring up my iPad settings. So if you go down the left, you'll see on my iPad, click that and you'll see DaVinci Resolve has now installed its own folder inside of there. So if we click in there, you can see we've got photo library imports, we've got Clip Cache, we've got Fusion, we've got LUTs, we've got Proxymedia, and all those are the things that come with DaVinci Resolve. So if you ever need to find anything, you can see that it's just inside of this folder. Have a click, have a look. Okay, in the next session, we're going to start looking at importing media and how we edit that inside of DaVinci Resolve. Welcome back, everybody. In this session, we're going to look at editing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import my media, but I must warn you, this is quite a long episode. So what I will do is I'll speed parts of it up because you don't need to watch me editing once you've grasped the basics. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import lots of content for a trailer. So I've recently cut a new trailer, and this is the content I've used. I will put the trailer at the end of the video so you can see how I did this. These clips here, these are raw clips, because I keep saying this, but because I've got the free version, I can't edit raw. So let's just delete those. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to start looking through my clips. So none of these are fully color graded yet. Some of them have been, some of them haven't been, but let's just look through to see what we have. And there's just a range of different clips that I've filmed over the past year. So I'm cutting a new promo for my company, which I do every year. So just updating that. So we have our timeline down here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to check. So that's locking our playhead, which we don't want to do, because if we lock our playhead, we can't move anything at all. So let's just unlock that. But before we do that, let's just have a look at what else we have in here. So we have some titles. So I'm going to need a title. So I'm just going to drag that in. So let me just put that there. So as you can see, it just says basic title, because that's what you get when you edit in DaVinci Resolve. But don't worry, because when we go to our inspector in the top right corner, we can then edit that and change all the parameters of that. So I'm just checking that everything's there. So yep, that is on my playhead. I've got two video tracks there now. So there is my basic title there. It's on video track 2. Let me just have a look for some more footage. So I'm back in my footage. Scroll down, and basically all I'm doing is I'm going to start building up a narrative. So I'm going to start building a story on my timeline through the footage I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim my title, because I don't need it the default 5 seconds. That feels a little bit long. So I'm just going to do that. So I trim that by just tapping it and pulling it across. So in my inspector, you'll see I've got all of my controls here. So I'll select this. Now I have Apple Pencil, so I'm using my Apple Pencil. I also have a keyboard, and great news, the keyboard shortcuts work on the iPad. So if you're already familiar with DaVinci Resolve or you have a keyboard, you can then use your keyboard to speed up your editing workflow. So all I'm doing now is I'm just repositioning this, just going down through some of the parameters. So as you can see, we can change the color, we can change the position, we can track it, we can zoom in, we can change the rotation angle, which I'm not going to do because that just looks a bit bizarre to me. So let me go down. I can add a shadow. So just change the color of my shadow. So let's just give it a blue. Actually, let's do the outline. Let's give it a blue there, a blue stroke. And if I just increase that, let me increase it to the max so you can see that that is going round. So I'm just going to give that a nice subtle outline. And then I will go down to my shadow, give that a white shadow. Is that so? This is just blurring it out, but obviously I need to increase my offset. So this is almost like light is coming from the side. So you can almost trick it to look like you have a light on your text. So I'm just going to do that. Let me just play around with this, change the blur till I get that where I want it. Yep, that looks pretty good. I could also do it as a value, but I'll use the slider with my Apple Pencil. This also works with your finger as well if you don't have an Apple Pencil. So please don't feel the need to go out and buy one just to edit in this program. Just playing around with my offset. I really think it's worth taking the time to do this so you're happy with it. Just change the color of that. So I'm just going to change the color of my track so I know that this is text. So what I like to do is I like to change the color of my track so I know what's on what track visually by looking at it straight away. Okay, so now I've got my title. I'm going to start looking for some footage. I'm going to import some audio because I like to cut to audio. So if I'm making a promo, I want to get the beat right. I want to get the flow. I really want to kind of set the pace. Now, I don't have a great deal of audio in here, so I'm just going to use one of these from another project that I've been working on. It isn't necessarily the music I would use, but it serves the purpose for what we're trying to do here. Now, one of the things that is a little bit tricky sometimes, I found on DaVinci Resolve iPad, is actually bringing audio into the timeline. So sometimes it sticks and it doesn't quite work. So I'm just playing this through now. You could probably hear that in the background. So as you can see, I'm dragging this in and nothing. So this is a bit of a quirk that I've found, so you just have to persevere with it. Let's just try a couple more times, and if it doesn't work, we'll restart and we'll bring this back in. So there's still a few little bugs. Let me select the audio there, and let's see if we can just bring this in separately by just dragging that across. No, there we go. There's always a way to get the audio in, so it's not in the right place. It's put that at the end of the track there. So what I'm going to do is I'll select the audio and I'll just move that across underneath. So we'll pop that there. So just give that a play. And that's definitely playing. Excellent. Now what I might do is I might find a nice beat where it kicks in. Oh, that feels. We'll just keep listening a bit more. There we go. That looks like a good beat to start some visuals. So I'm going to cut that there with the little scissor icon at the top of your playhead. Move that across. Let's just have a listen to this. There we go. And we're playing. So what I might actually do now is I might move this across and then pull that out and just have this be where the actual visuals kick in. I'll clean all this up later, but there we go. That's where I want my first visual to kick in. Okay, so I'm just going to create a marker there. So double tap that and just give myself a little note here. So visuals. There we go. Here. So I like to give myself little markers just so I can give myself notes as I'm working. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through my footage, find a clip that I really want to start my promo with. So just looking through. So this is probably the most time-consuming bit of your editing process, is looking through all your content. I actually really like it, but it is, does take a little bit of time. So we're just going to pull that in and out, and there we go. So it's defaulted to underneath the clip. So let me just move all this across and just add a little bit of a shuffle. There we go. So just trimming the edges off here. So select that, trim that there. Let me just double check by right clicking. That's where I want that. And then I'll just trim that across. Oops, move the whole clip, trim that across. So it can be quite fiddly, but that is editing. Just play that, make sure that that works where I want it to be. Great, so that's there. So let's select the next clip. So what I'm really looking for is to really show the variety and difference in the type of work that I make. So I've selected a range of clips that show events, like this chap here. It shows actual narrative work. It shows performance. There's some dance in there. There's some music in there, etc. So really want to show the breadth of the type of work that I've worked on this year. So as I'm building this promo up, potential clients or potential kind of audiences see the breadth of our work. So when they want video of a performance, for example, they can then go, oh, we know somebody that does performance. We've seen this trailer, etc., etc. So I'm just finding the in and out point. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through all of these clips. I'm going to build up a trailer that's around about a minute long. So you know how to bring clips in. You select your clip, it opens up in your viewer. You trim your handles, so you just pull it in from the left or pull it in from the right. Find the bit of the clip you want, and then you pull that into your timeline and so on and so forth. So what I'll do now is I'll speed this bit of the process up until we have a timeline, and then we'll start looking at what other things we can do inside of the cut page in Resolve. So I'll just super speed this up so we get lots of clips on the timeline, and then I want to show you a really cool feature inside of the cut page. So here we go, just trimming these clips in, just popping them in. So what's really interesting about this is these are different quality of clips. So if I go down to my viewer, and you can see I've just clicked my little icon there, which looks like three lines with dots, and I get all of these interesting options. So I can crop it, I can create a zoom, a manual zoom, I can do the opacity. So let's just put that on there. Let's have a look at this clip there. So if I pull that in like this, what this will do is this will actually create a zoom effect on my clip. I can also stabilize my clip. So if my clip's a little bit shaky, so can you see that zoom out there? Well, that's this that I put on earlier. So let me just take this out. There we go. And let me just watch this clip. It's a little bit shaky, as you can see. So what we can do inside of Resolve is go to our stabilize, click stabilize clip. That'll analyze it. So it might take some time. This is a really high quality clip. So this is shot in 4K, but there you go. You can see it's done something. Let's just scroll back and play that, and you'll see that this has done a cracking job at stabilizing that clip. So if you've got a slightly shaky footage, not an issue. So one of the other quirks in Resolve is if you've got a clip that is linked, see that's not linked, but when I delete the audio, it deletes all of the clip. So if I select one audio, it's deleting all of the clips. So that's a little quirk in Resolve that hopefully they'll fix soon. But for now, all we can do, we can mute that track, so we don't really need it for this. But just double check that clip, and I'm going to keep scrolling through, keep building up my editing, keep checking, watching. So a lot of editing is watching the same clip over and over and over, and just making sure that everything is adding to that story. It's adding to what the message you want to tell everybody. One of the other great things in here is I've got instant color grading options. So what I can do is I can select this little color wheel here. I can select my clip, and if I click auto color, it will give me an auto colored clip. So if I just go to this one, there we go, there's the clip, and I'll just go over here and I select auto color. There you see, it's auto colored, and it's not done a bad job. So if you're in a rush or you don't have time to really do a full grade on it, which we're going to do with these clips anyway, auto color is a great option. So let's try it on a couple of different clips with a couple of different lights. See, I really like that. It's really changed the tonal contrast of the image. So I could just pop over into the color page, do a few more little refinements, and that would look absolutely brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to keep editing this. So I'll speed the video up a little bit now until we build up a picture. All we're doing now is just assembling our edit timeline to our draft edit, so we can watch the whole thing back. We can make sure we've got the energy of the piece right, we've got the flow of the piece right. You're really building up a visual story so that your audience or your viewer or your potential client, for example, really gets a sense of how you put things together, how you tell stories, because filmmaking is storytelling, editing is also storytelling, so you're remaking the stories that you've shot. So all of these clips were shot in isolation separately from each other, so they weren't designed to go together really. So I'm having to rebuild a narrative out of all these different narratives. So when you're making a trailer or a promo film, you really want to select the best kind of footage that you've shot during your year or during your month or whatever the content is that you're using for your promo. You really want to show a wide range of the work you do. So you really want to show your skill level. So, if you have any moving shots, then you put your moving shots in there. If you have any shots that particularly stand out or really interact with the camera that kind of elicit feelings and emotions in your audience, that's also really great. So let's just speed through this edit now. So we're just building up a bed, getting down there, making sure everything's stabilized, making sure everything is in the right place. We might move all this around. I might change the music once I've watched it, because again, a lot of this process is you're in the moment, you're editing, you're thinking, you're building clips, you're creating a visual language, but it might not be quite right. So you might get to the end of your edit and kind of go, okay, the music doesn't feel quite right, or that clip doesn't sit right there. So all you do is you swap it around, you move it around, you change everything up really. And then what you really want to do is you want to find a dynamic clip to finish your trailer on. So something to end your clip. So I really like this one. Let me just have a look at this. So this is a move one. Again, it's a little bit shaky, even though I did it on a steady rig. So I can go to my stabilizer settings there, and I can just do that. And that just took a little bit of time, so I'll smooth that across. Fantastic. Okay, so is there anything in the music where I want to stop? So I'm just listening to the music now and thinking, Is there any places I can fade out, or any places it naturally dips in pace, so I can just create an ending there, or just create something to finish. So that's where my playhead is. Can I fade out there? Let me have a look. Is there any other clips that we could then put in? Oh, this is quite a nice clip. This is quite upbeat and jumpy and happy, so maybe I'll finish on this. So just pull my in and out point, and there, when he looks, the camera looks pretty good. So just drag that in, and that's a little bit long. So what we'll do is we'll get to the end there, and we'll just cut that and get rid of that end clip because we don't need that. And then what we will do is we will just tidy all of this up, trim it in, trim it out, and then we will jump across in another session, and we will get all of this color graded and ready to export and upload online. All I'm doing now is I'm just adding some dissolves just to fade it in and fade it out, so it doesn't just stop as a straight image. So I'm in my transitions in the top panel. You can see I've got video, I've got audio, I've got favorites. I haven't saved any favorites yet, but the way you save a favorite is you just hover over the clip, and there's a little star at the far right side. Just click that, and that will instantly be in your favorites. And again, there's a little quick that sometimes it doesn't quite add. So let's do an audio one first to see if that'll add on to it. There we go. So there's our audio fade. I didn't select that, so we'll just pull that across. There we go. So we have an audio fade on the end of the clip there, and I'll clean that up and move that across. Let me just select that. Is that going to move for us? No, that's moving the whole clip. Not to worry, we will figure this out as we go along. Again, there are a few little quirks inside of the iPad version, which will of course be updated as the guys at Blackmagic Design are updating this software, and all these little quirks and kinks will get ironed out. So let's just go to the front of the clip. There we go. So that works. I'm just going to watch all of this through. Let's just check that there. And again, I've got my parameters up here. Just looking about the color palette, see if that works. Jump over to the color page a minute. Let me just have a quick look at what's going off over there with the scopes. Great, so let me just go back. Okay, I think that's going to color up really nicely, but if I'm totally honest with you, I might just do the auto color because it looks great. It feels like it's got a really nice tonal range. It gives it a really interesting kind of palette. So let me just go through these and again see how the color is looking. Do you know what? I really like that. It really brings out those colors in the background. Let's try this one. How will this one respond to the light? It's very different. Oh, okay, yeah. That, truth be told, I've used this clip in the actual film, and it looks just like that. And I spent ages color grading that. So that's a really, really interesting process that DaVinci Resolve have developed there. Okay, brilliant. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to keep working on this because you understand the premise of how to edit inside of DaVinci Resolve on the iPad. You don't need to see me click buttons and do all of that little faffy stuff, really. So what we'll do is we'll fade this out, and then I will, at the end of this video, I will show you the promo that I ended up with using specifically the iPad to edit it all together.
I like to say the first indie record label in the world.